This is for my brothers up north. Getting full off that Jax. Yo, Reach Over Culture podcast. Man, I spent like two weeks and some change before we put out an episode. And first of all, shout out to all the first time listeners. I want to give y'all if you're surviving out here during this corona pandemic, I want to give you a and if you're washing your hands, I want to give you a big and if you're not washing your hands. But on a serious note, these are troubled times. But tough times don't last, tough people do. And I just want to take a moment of silence for those that we've lost thus far. This virus has affected everybody differently, whether mentally or physically, or you actually lost somebody close to you. We just want to take a moment of silence for you as we're still in the middle of it. And working to get on the other side of it. So just one quick moment of silence. Thank you all. So again, shout out to the first time listeners. I got to get back in my rhythm. I haven't did this in a couple of weeks. Shout out to my first time listeners. Shout out to everybody that's watching on YouTube. As you can see, neither Rob nor P is with me, but high five to both of them in spirit as they trying to stay corona free. But I do have a guest here. You've heard us shout her out on the last couple of episodes. She has a dope jewelry business. This is town business. She's straight from the town. Awesome person, known her for some time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Miss Ryan. Do you want to go by Gordon, or would you rather go by Marie? Would you?
You know, all of it is my government name.
All of it is her government name. Let's give it up for Ryan. Ryan, you back strong. You're actually on the YouTube. You're gonna be on like our YouTube channel.
That's crazy.
You're gonna make our views go stupid. You're gonna make our views go crazy. So, you from Tulsa?
Not originally.
Where are you originally from?
Anadarko, Oklahoma. I know. It's hard to say. A lot of people like...
Nah, it's not hard to say. It's hard to envision where that is. I think I saw that on First 48. Is that what it is?
It might be.
Is Anadarko?
They have a lot of drug buzz down here.
No, where did I see that at? I was watching the Tiger King documentary on Netflix.
See, I haven't watched that just yet.
And they flashed the exit for Anadarko. I guess it's kind of in the same.
It is.
You ain't know nothing about the Tiger King?
Not yet. Well, a little bit.
You didn't know he was out there keeping tigers captive?
Mm-mm.
So,
Live under a rock.
so how do you when did you move to Tulsa?
When I was 10.
10?
August 2000.
Okay. High school, went to the U.
The Union. All
Shout
for it.
Shout out to the Redskins. Shout out to my brothers up north. So you have an amazing jewelry business. I'm wearing a couple of them as we speak. Just getting to your beginning stages of making jewelry. Like, where does that passion come from? Have you always had it? You know, what does that stem from?
I would say one day one of my favorite necklaces broke, and I was devastated. But then I took a look at it and I was like, I think I could put this back together, and I fixed it. And I was like, why don't I do this? Like, this would be cool just to give it a shot.
Right.
And so I, at the time I was living in Norman with one of my best friends. Shout out Carmel. And I had made a OU inspired. I'm not for OU. I just had to do it because of where I worked. I'm all OSU.
Oh, wow.
But I had to make a necklace,
Hello.
to have some gear to be like, okay, I'm for the team.
You for the what team?
Quotations.
For what team? What team?
I'm really for OSU, but.
But you wore OU colors?
Yeah, I had. But my boss, she graduated from OSU, so we were there.
Gotcha.
You're here.
Gotcha. It's a lot of, it's a lot of, you kind of one way this way, you know what I'm saying?
I had to look the part, even though my heart was always there. But I made this necklace, and she was like, "Where'd you find that at?" I was like, "I actually made it." She's like, "You did?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Do you make jewelry?" And I was like, in my mind, I was like, "No, but I mean, I could if that's where we're trying to go down,
Right.
I can piece together some stuff."
Yeah.
And so from there, it just kind of started, and I just started making stuff for me. And I was just like, I kind of like this. I enjoy designing and decorating in general with interior design. Went to school for interior design, so anything creative, like, I enjoy it. And so it just started from there, to be honest. And that was like in 2014.
Right. 2014. So what was your dream before actually turning a hobby into a business, per se? Like, did you have aspirations to do something else? Like, what was your vision before 2014?
To be honest, I really didn't have a vision. Like, I enjoy, like, I knew what I loved to do,
right.
But my thoughts on where I could take those passions and gifts and talents, there is very limited in that season. But far from that now.
So, I mean, that's an honest answer. Coming from a small town, moving to, Tulsa's a big city compared to a small town like Anadarko. Do you think you kind of carried that small town mindset with you coming up?
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people in small towns, for some reason, don't see themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They just are happy to go from the small town to the big city. So do you think that possibly could have been one of those things?
I believe so. And even going back to visit, people there talk about Tulsa like it's New York City. And I'm like, have you really been in New York City just yet?
Right.
It ain't. It's far from.
I imagine. But, how many people in Anadarko?
Maybe 5,000. Maybe.
Oh, I was about to say like 600.
No, because there's a lot of farmland. So I'm gonna say 5,000.
How many people? So if you had graduated from Anadarko High School, you would have been like 35. You don't have to tippy toe. You don't have to tiptoe in the background. It's all good. This is a live podcast.
I would say the graduating class would be under 100, well under 100. 30, not that small.
Shout out to Anadarko, man. But shout out to the U. It's a great high school alumni to be a part of. So now, excuse me. Now you have your jewelry business, which is called
Ryannemarie,
and we shot it out. Last 3 episodes, you know the business. We've been shouting it out. What is the inspiration behind the brand?
To bring value and respect back to men in the world. I would say culture, but it's not just specific to one, like our brothers. It's not that. It's for all men across the board. And a lot of men don't really... you have those few that take care of themselves. Like on the outside, they like to look the part, but there are a lot of men that don't, because they don't see it as a necessity. And I feel like some of it also, how can I piece it all together? When you look good, you feel good.
Right.
So I want to use those accessories to not only help them look good, but the story behind it to say like, hey, like I want to make something for you guys that's tailored for men, because I feel like women are always catered to, which is great. You know, that's awesome. We enjoy it. I enjoy it, you know.
She said it. I didn't say it. She said it. It's going to be a lot of that this episode. She said it. I didn't say it.
Yeah, I know. But
she
it's
said it. I didn't say it. YouTube, I didn't say it. She said it. I didn't say it. So let's tap into that. So the inspiration behind the brand is making men feel valued. You know, you feel it's true.
Needed.
You need it. What's the inspiration behind that? It can't be that surface. It's something deeper behind.
Yes.
What is there a story? Like what makes you think, you know, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna really do this for the brothers up north.
We go get real.
I'm gonna really do this for the brothers up north. Getting full off that. What's the inspiration behind even making a brand to be behind men in such a way?
I would say it starts with my grandfather.
Okay.
He passed away a long time ago. God rest his soul. But he was a very prideful man. A lot of us are. For various reasons. It's just in that day and age, the definition of what a man looked like, X'd out emotion, feeling. It was all by doing chores and taking care of your family.
Right.
And that's that. And I feel like there were a lot of times where he was afraid to make choices for his family, or he wanted to do something that was out of the norm that wasn't normally seen in that day and age.
Yeah. And
he didn't have anywhere to go, like to he didn't have a safe space to say, hey, like, I'm scared, you know, like, and he was a man of God. He went to church and everything. But even with that, like, even men of God have moments where they're like, hey, like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know God has it. Yeah. And I'm going to follow his lead. But right now, this is how I feel. Yeah. And there weren't spaces or therapists created for that back then, I guess.
Now, this is your grandfather from Anadarko?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was originally from Kansas.
Okay, so one country to the next.
Literally.
But he comes from a different time, man. It's a different time. Like, to be in the country, like, to be raised in the country around the time that he was raised in the country, that's a different time. It's crazy because, you know, you talk about men being raised to be, like, hard.
Mm-hmm. Not showing emotion.
Yeah, a lot of men his age, I found, were actually raised on survival.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a little different for, like, dudes my age. A lot of dudes my age are, like, raised on fear. They're raised on fear of their parents. And so...
Would you say it's like fear of disappointment?
Yeah.
Like,
I just overall fear. You know, I was talking to my mom the other day. And I told her there was a point in time as a child, even when I didn't know God, I knew chemo. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to fear God, I had to fear chemo. Like, that's just what it was. Now, anybody who's met my mom knows she's one of the most loving, caring people.
Oh yeah, I've met her.
Oh yeah. All time, right?
But she don't play.
Nah, she didn't play. She didn't play no games. And we actually talked about it, you know, one of the downsides of that was because she didn't really actually start to kind of loosen up until we moved here, you know, from New Orleans to here after Katrina, high school. But I was so scared of her. I didn't want, like, I was scared of her and I was scared of my stepfather at the time. It's just because, you know, my stepfather, he's cut from the cloth of survival. So you don't show emotion, you know, you don't show weakness, you don't show fear. You don't fear anybody else on this planet but me. These are the type of things that he would say. And my mom, I mean, I would get beatings for homework being wrong.
Oh no.
Little brother doing something that I didn't know. But it made it extremely, extremely difficult for me to talk to him about a lot of stuff in high school because I was just scared. But then you get out on the outside and you start to grow up as a man, and you realize that you were so scared of your parents that nobody else stands a chance. You can't show fear, and you can't fear anybody else on this planet. Like, the only people that could get away with doing something to me without me retaliating is Kima David and Eric Davis.
Everybody's mama.
Rest in power. So I think when I look at a lot of my friends and look at a lot of millennial guys, a lot of us was raised off of fear, but it's crazy. You know, we come down the line from people like your grandfather who was raised on survival.
Oh yeah.
Raised on survival. So you have your grandfather in mind. Are you also taking your father? You also have a little brother.
Oh yeah, like down.
How does that play? Does that inspire you more to?
It does.
Because do you see a trend from your grandfather to your father to your brother? Does it kind of like taper off into different things as you're looking at the generations of men in your family?
I would say it tapers off into different things, and also other variables play into part with that. With my grandfather, I know like women, they knew their place, quote unquote. Like you cook, clean, raise kids. Like that's your lane. You stay in it. Arguments were down to a minimum. What the man said, that's it. Like you don't talk back, nothing. So with my grandfather, like he actually started having like fainting spells, I guess. Like a lot of stuff was going on like mentally, and I believe because he didn't have an outlet. Like he didn't trust anyone to let his guard down. So all he had was himself and maybe God. We'll see. I don't know. We don't know how often he prayed or whatever, but all he had was just himself, and that's lonely. You know, like you put yourself in this box and it's just building up until you just explode. And so I believe that was a lot of the reasons why he had mental stuff going on, because he didn't have that outlet. And on top of that,
I mean, was it not available? Like when you look at then, so now when you're looking at the ladies of your family that you come from, would you say just knowing them and knowing your family tree, was it not available, or was he just so hardened that he shut off any possibility for him to be able to release?
I think through his younger years, he just grew to be hard. Even though I knew him as a loving grandfather, like I loved my grandfather, spent a lot of time with him. But as I got older and was able to hear the like stories and stuff, I'm like, oh, like he really had a lot of stuff going on, you know. But the my mom and my aunts, they were very strong-willed. My mom, she was born in the 60s, so you know how that goes. That era. So it was a lot of freedom, you know. Women like activists and all that, that kind of riled up a lot of things. But even with that, like the feminist movement and all that it was never geared from, it never stemmed from love. It was more out of bitterness and hatred for the man putting women in the box when they had so much more to offer. So if they did get an outlet, it was like lashing out and, you know, well, I'm a woman and I can do what I can. Like, I don't need you. And it just, both things have festered from that. And then with my parents, they got divorced when I was 2. I'm sure there were a lot of things that, you know, that played into part with that. But I know just from observing his actions. Later on, he did apologize to me because he didn't show up for my graduation.
Your grandfather?
My father.
Your father?
My father.
Okay.
My parents. He didn't show up for my graduation, and that was really rough, you know. But I think that's where I really truly had to learn how to still respect him as my father, because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be here, you know. And it was a tough season, you know, getting through that, but also finding my own personal boundaries with what are my limits, where I'm like, okay, enough, but still respecting him as a man and as my father. And from there, I mean, I would say he and I are in a much better place. There's still a lot of growth, of course, that needs to happen, you know, with that. But I look at it totally different. Like in the past, like I would dread hearing from him because I'm just like, you know, like what does he want now? Like he wasn't there when I was younger, so what does he want now? And so I had to lose that mindset for God to help me to learn how to respect him and even honor him with allowing him to help me, you know, because I know you guys are fixers, you know. If there's a need, like, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna do everything I can to try to supply that need. And so with him, like, I had to learn how to allow him to help in a way and show love in the way that he knows how to show it, and respond from that angle. And then you have my stepdad. He loves my mom to the moon and back and would do anything for her. And it was hard to respect him too, because every man that I knew had, you know, I was just like, okay, no, I'm good. So I had to learn how to respect my stepfather as the man of the household. And it was hard because I did have a lot of resentment and comparison, like, oh, are you going to leave like my dad did? Or are you not going to show up like he did? And that wasn't fair, you know. So that was another lesson learned, like not putting what I've experienced on another man, whether it be a friendship or, you know, like that, like you're going to automatically see that. And then you have my brother. That's like, I love my brother. Shout out to Charlito. It's my nickname for him.
Young goat.
That's my, like that's like my closest sibling, other than my sister, of course. But he is amazing. And just seeing how he treats the women in his life, like, I get inspired. I'm like, Lord, like, I would love for whoever pursues me to have these qualities, you know. And he's generous, he's a giver, without thought, you know. Like, he would give me his last dollar if I needed it. Like, he's that type of person. And so that has played a huge part, like, just in my healing and walk with learning how to respect, and talking to him even about this, like, what do you think about this? Like, having in-depth conversations. And I mean, he's very intellectual, so it's a normal thing for him. But he also doesn't mind showing emotion. So that's,
you think
really
that's because he was, because he has strong women like yourself, your mom, y'all in life to lead that?
A lot of sisters.
Yeah. That'd probably do it to you.
Yeah.
That'd probably do it to you.
A blessing in disguise.
It is. It is. I had a couple of sisters through marriage. And you know, we have a relationship, but you know, like, we didn't grow up together, you know. So it was just me and my little brother. I can't say it was a time where I just wish I had like an older sister, you know, because I just didn't. I still don't understand women.
Sometimes we don't understand ourselves.
You know, thank you for admitting that.
Oh,
so like during some crazy parts of my life, I was like, you know, I mean, fortunately, my mom, me and I have a very, very good relationship, communication-wise. I don't tell her all my business, but she's bestowed upon me a lot of wisdom about women, in a big sister type of way. But I've always, it was at one point I did want to, like, I wanted a big sister. I wish I had one. And at some point I was just like, nah, you know, because cool, you know, because then it's like, how do you? My first nature is to protect. So it just, I'm not a violent person. I'm not a person that just starts conflict. But when you come from where I come from, whether your sister is in the right or the wrong, or any woman in your family, you're going. So there's been a lot of situations I would have found myself in unnecessarily because I was just trying to be
I get that.
Big dog. So I look back and I'm like, it's better off that I didn't have a sister. You know what I mean? It's better off, like, I ain't got to worry about my homeboys wanting to date. I see some of the things that my homeboys go through and went through over the years. I don't envy that. I don't envy that. So, yeah, but, I mean, lucky him, lucky Charles, to have women like yourself, because that helps. Like, men, it's crazy. Because how old is Charles?
He'll be 22.
Be 22?
Yeah.
But so he's 22, I'm 27. Almost two different generations. Almost, right? But it's the same cycles.
Yeah.
Him and myself. Like, I can remember especially around 21, 22. That was one of my goals in life, was to be different than the father figures. Now, I loved my father figures. I loved my stepfather. I mean, we call him Pops. I love Pops. Rest in power to him. My biological dad, love him to death. But it was just something around that time. I just wanted nothing more than to be better than them.
Yeah.
To treat my family better. To be in my children's lives in a different way. Again, my Pops, he was a hard dude, so he raised us hard. And my biological father just, around, but wasn't really around, present, but didn't really bombard our lives too much. Like, I probably
played the background.
Yeah, it played the background. And so it's crazy, around that time, I could relate to Charles, because you function and it's like, all right, you got one side of the family over here telling you, like, you hearing all these stories about what the men in your life didn't do. So it's like, all right, I got the cheat code on that. You know what I mean? At the same time, trying to find respect and trying to pick up the good things that they.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
It's challenging.
It is challenging. It's very, very challenging. So you got your grandfather, you got your stepfather, you got your father, little brother, a lot of male figures in your life. So I can see where the inspiration for the line is coming from. So is this the bracelet, the jewelry? Is that the only venture you want to venture into, or do you have other ideas in mind?
I have a lot more ideas. The bracelets was just something that the Lord said to start with. This summer, I mean, things were supposed to start picking up, but because of this Rona out here,
still got time.
Sister Rona, she gotta go. There's a lot of time, and I'm grateful for it, and it's a time to plan even better, and that's fine. Like, I'm okay with that. But I want to add necklaces, earrings, rings, whatever. Yeah, just keep on going with those. I would love to go into apparel, but it ain't my lane, to be honest.
That's good.
Other people can have that. That's fine.
Gotta know your lane. Why don't people like being in their lane? People say, all right, you stay in your lane, don't put me in the lane, don't put me in the box. All right, here's the thing. I understand not putting you in a box. But we all got a box.
Yeah.
All of our boxes are but so big, right? I love movies. I can't direct a movie. I can critique it, can't direct it.
I
You know, so there's nothing wrong with being in a certain lane, or involving people that do know what they're talking about. Let me ask you this: being at the line itself, again, which is a dope line.
Thank you.
It's dedicated. Do you have stuff for women? Are they included in this process?
Yes,
because I don't want them to be like.
No, I haven't forgotten the ladies and
non-feminists.
No.
You know what I mean?
I cannot support.
Let me ask you something. Do you ever feel pressure from like other women, as far as because you have such a compassion for men? Do you ever receive like pushback? Like, why are you like Negroes ain't beep? Why are you so?
It's tough sometimes. And I've personally have always gone along with the opposite sex. Like, right. I'd have my few like girlfriends, but it was always like down to a bare minimum of like 2.
Yeah.
And definitely 1.
Yeah.
But all of that, like, I was raised to be out. Like, I was outside climbing trees, chasing cows, like doing stuff that I was kind of a tomboy.
I was not chasing cows.
I was a tomboy.
Yeah, I was a city kid. I wasn't chasing cows, but I get you. I get where you're going.
So I was just kind of rough around the edges in a good way. I loved wearing dresses still. Like, I still had that. Like, I love that all day, every day. But I just always got along with the opposite sex and would become friends with them quicker than I did with women. And I never understood that. I was just like, hey man, like, it's cool, but of course when you're young,
women too chatty, they too chatty patty for you.
Too much drama. Like, I am not the one for drama. And I would tell people, I'm like, if you start something, I will leave you out there to fend for yourself, because there's like, it was just always over something petty.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. Like, I don't. I'm going to be real and blunt, even in my BC days, the old site is called Before Christ days, going out to the club.
Right.
I'd always have my sister. I was in the club. Y'all don't know, man. BC Ryan, my God.
You wasn't in the club.
Yeah, I was.
50 was in the club. You wasn't in the club.
So. I was in the club dancing to 50 song.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Oh, on a non-birthday. But, we'd have new friends that would be like, hey, I want to go hang with you guys. And they would get drunk, can't take care of themselves, I was just like, nah, we can't hang out with them.
Yeah. Because
we got responsibilities. I got to wake up, go to work. I don't have time to babysit anyone. Yeah. So I was just real cutthroat, blunt. Yeah. I love you, but you do you. But, yes, a lot of... I guess you'd say
so
pettiness.
Did that bother you at any point in your life, like women coming, women kind of looking at you sideways because did that bother you?
When it came, like when I got older, I'd say like high school, because then of course people were discovering the opposite sex far long before high school, but I would hear like
it's
little
cool.
whispers of like people like
good.
Oh, is she like, are they dating?
Right.
Is she sleeping with them? They got something going on.
Right.
I'm like, ugh, like no, like and
so
I never understood
you believe in
that.
platonic friendships. You believe that people that two the opposite sex could be platonic forever and ever. You believe
I
in
would
that?
say forever and ever. At some point, somebody's going to have some thought. Like, why don't we, or, so at one point, I bet you, people who have been friends.
She said it, I didn't say it.
At one point, one or the other has crossed their mind. Like,
Man.
I wonder. And they just put it back. Like, nah, we too good of friends.
Man.
And I only say that because I thought that with some
love.
guy friends, but I was just like, nah, like, and I just kept it rolling, know. It was very few with the thoughts of that, but I just so that's the only problem I had when it came to women, because they thought that I was like dating them or interested, and I'm like, no,
Nah.
you know. And at the time, like I didn't like that I got along with men more than women. I'm like, I would love to have more girls, you know, girlfriends in my life, but it was just too much drama. And I was like, guys are a lot. It's just you there's no added preservatives. You say what you didn't like. You guys look for a solution. That's
it's crazy
what it is.
with women, yeah.
You guys look for a solution.
A lot of dudes don't act like that with dudes,
you
though.
know.
It's kind of crazy. That's another story for another day. A lot of dudes don't do that with other dudes. It's kind of crazy.
I'm like, man, I didn't like that wasn't cool what you did. Like that, you know, you're like, oh man, my bad, bro. And then y'all keep going.
But you see, I'm gonna let you in on something. That's not
normal.
It's a false sense of humility.
Really?
It is.
Oh, learning something new.
I'm gonna give you something because
that reach talk.
Yeah, men are. We said it last month. Men are competitors, so stuff like that is a way of taking charge of the situation and showing that, you know, one, I have some self-control, but two, that you just testing the water to see what you can kind of get away with and what you can't. Because again, at the same time, a lot of the dudes that would do that to women won't say that to their homie. They won't tell their homie, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, or you offended me in this way or that way, or run me my scrap. But they quick to tell a woman, you hurt my feelings, because they understand women got soft spots.
True.
It's a game. A lot of it is game. I'm gonna put you on to some game.
Yep.
Put you on some game. A lot of it is game. A lot of it be game. So I got a goddaughter now. I can't really be holding stuff out like this anymore. And
I heard that episode.
Yeah,
I got time.
I can't be out here just, you know, because there's a thing that if I give you the game, doesn't mean it's not gonna work. Rest in power to Kobe. Kobe would tell people what he was gonna do and still did it and won games. So, you know, ladies, you can take my word for it. You know what I mean. You know, break bread, fake dead, do what you do. And fellas, you know, I actually had a couple fellas like, Rock, what you doing, man? You kind of giving, what you doing? You got to relax. I said, bruh, I'm sorry, man. Like, I just, you know, if your game's strong, it'll still work. But if it's not, you know, so a lot of stuff be like a lot of sense of false humility. You know, because they won't do that with their home. Ladies, the next time that a dude willing to tell you hurt my feelings and X, Y, and Z, ask them when the last time they did that with one of their homeboys that hurt their feelings. Shout out to Rob, shout out to P, shout out to
we love you. I love
Matt
you
E. I'm quick to tell my dogs that they hurt my feelings. Son, you hurt my feelings. A lot of times they don't be can, but at least I said it.
That's good.
At least I said. I've had some hard conversations with some of my dogs over the past year. You know, because I don't want to just say this stuff and I'm not living it.
Would you say it's hard to sort out your emotions to say this is what hurt?
Nah, you know, you don't like to show weakness.
Or you guys always know, y'all just choose not to say it.
Yeah, you don't like to show weakness. You know, I don't want to tell another man he hurt my feelings. A lot of times I don't care that he hurt my feelings, but when he did. My mom told me, like, all right, so you don't get your feelings hurt a lot. I said, yeah, but if he did, that is even more reason to say that he hurt your feelings. I was like, yeah, you're right. But you know, I feel weak. I feel like now he knows. Well, I only do that with my close friends.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Right. I don't even be around a lot of dudes to hurt my feelings like that in the first place. If I don't know you, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to hurt my feelings. But with my close friends, it's kind of tough to tell them that they did something that offended me or something like that, because you don't know what's going to happen when a dude's ego is tested or when his pride gets, you know what I mean? Dudes have huge egos. We got huge pride. So it could easily be a, you know what, bro, my bad. Or it could turn into a, explicits.
Yeah.
And I've been on both sides of it. You know what I'm saying? With some of my best friends, I've been on both sides of it, where it's easily went from, bro, let's talk about it, to, bro, like, I don't need you.
Oh, that's rough.
But we come from rough spaces. And a lot of times it be.
I
A
don't
lot
need you.
a
I
lot
don't
of times it
even
be.
need you.
And listen, a lot of times it just it's how we're raised. It just so happens that two of my closest friends, we were all raised in the same similar fashion. Tough pops, tough neighborhoods, tough environments.
Y'all understand the lingo.
We understand the lingo, but we also got our own egos as well. So we just operate differently. But thankfully, we always come back to the center. Like
that's real good.
Yeah,
that's
we always come. You know, because I'm not even gonna sit here and cap with you. Like I just have a bunch of disagreements with my close friends. I don't.
P and Rob.
Yeah. Me and P have probably had almost came to blow 2 times. Give or take. And me and Rob was never even met. Nah, for real. Nah, me and P are like.
He was like,
give or take. A lot of times we was hooping. I would talk trash. He would talk trash. I had to. He was better. He was on the court. Yeah, he was better than me. I had to find a way. It was my only way in getting in his head was my only way to compete with him because he just got nice out of nowhere. So I was like, bruh. So I would talk about his shoes, like, I mentioned something a girl said about him. Like I was savage. I wasn't a good friend on the court, but I love him though. Rob, I don't know if me and Rob could ever really get into an argument. It just could never really happen. Because one, Rob don't like to argue.
That's very true.
And we just think too much alike.
I don't think I've ever seen him mad.
I've seen him mad. He had came. That ain't my story to tell.
No, you're right. Sorry, Rob. We gonna keep it. He gonna keep
that
it.
Ain't my story.
Shout
out to Rob.
That's your boy. He ain't gonna keep it.
Yeah. No, that ain't
keep
that.
That
ain't
but
my
there
story.
was a moment you lost your cool. I understand that.
Man, nah. All right, so one time, right? Nah, I'm gonna let him defend himself. I'm gonna wait till Rob come back. So where can they reach your product? Where can they find you on Instagram? We shout it out every week, but where can they find you?
So I do have an Instagram. It is _Ryannemarie. That's RYANNEMAIRE.
And do you have a website?
Yes, theryannemarie.com.
Link is in the bio on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Do you have product currently available, or we waiting to get more?
Right now, there are a few pieces. The tiara, and I think it's the tiara that's available now. I have like one more of Orion's belt, and then that would be sold out. The women's they're completely sold out. And shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to the women supporting the men.
Shout out to them.
Like, that was the first to sell out, was the women's. Like, they were like, I'm all for what you're standing for, and
really,
and I've got a chance to hear a lot of stories about like just people. Yeah.
So stick around. Shout out to you. Shout out to all our YouTubers. Thank you guys for supporting Reach Over Culture podcast. Ryan is actually going to stick around for the next episode where we're going to have a little bit of fun.
Oh, God.
So shout out to y'all. Shout out to my brothers up north getting full off that jack. Hold on. I got a couple more shout outs. Hold on. I got this. It's been a couple weeks. I got this. Hold on. Oh, yes. Follow at Reach Over Culture on Instagram. We're not on Twitter. We're on Facebook. But follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at Reach Over Culture. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Helps with the visibility of the show. Also, if you watch this whole podcast and you haven't hit subscribe, don't be a bird. Hit subscribe. Leave a comment. Help us out. We're not going to make no money off of it, but the love helps. For real. We just got added to Deezer and Podbox. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Castbox, Podbean, Buzzsprout. We're on a lot of different stuff, actually. Somebody hit me the other day. They hit me on the site. I never even heard of the site before. So somebody owe me some money. And if you're interested in sponsoring the show, hit us up. Email us at reachoverculture@gmail.com, or hit us up on the DM at reachoverculture. Only for sponsorships. Don't DM us about nothing other than that. It gets a little weird in them DMs. So shout out to y'all, man. This is another episode of Reach Over Culture Podcast. Stay up, be blessed, and we out.